we go. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our Tuesday night interviews with fascinating people. And again, I think I speak for everybody when what's on our mind primarily is all that's going on in eretz Yisroel. And we have somebody fresh back from his very first trip to eretz Yisroel, Levi Moscowitz. So, Levi, thank you so much. Let's take us from the beginning. Give us a little bit of your background. We've had you on before in different contexts, but maybe refresh everybody's memory. Who are you? Where are you from? And then walk us through where you are right now, and then we'll talk about your trip.
So I'm, like you said, Levi Moskowitz from Northbrook, Illinois. Um, Happy to be back. It's good.
Good. And where are you right now?
Right now, I'm in the yeshiva in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Scottsdale, Arizona. Okay.
Nice Chabad yeshiva here.
So tell us, this was your first trip ever to Eretz Yisrael?
Yep.
Okay. What prompted you to go now?
Well, I've always wanted to go, and I haven't ever had the opportunity, and it's quite random. I guess hashgacha pratis definitely that it worked out. A friend of mine was going, and the yeshiva had a little like a small winter break, so it worked out. And Baruch Hashem, I was able to find tickets, which is not so easy nowadays. Because
I'm sure. So tell us about that. What path do you fly from Scottsdale, Arizona, to get to Eretz Yisrael?
so I had a couple stops in Newark and in Vienna, and then to Eretz Yisrael.
And what was your itinerary like? So you landed, walk us through your first
So
land there. What's the tone like? What's the mood like? I don't know. I assume everybody here has been to Israel or they know about it. Usually, I'm just saying, you land there, you're so excited. It's so welcoming. They feel so honored that you've come to visit them. It's really, and it's not like when you fly into Kennedy or O'Hare and they basically look at you like you're bothering them for coming into the country. They're so enthusiastic. But now, because of all that's gone on over the last couple of months, give us a sense. Did you feel when you got off the plane, even on the plane, was there any kind of sense of what the tone was of the culture in the community?
so it was interesting. Meaning, I've never been there before, so I don't have what to compare it to. But when we came into the flight, actually was full. But then again, that could just be because there's not that many flights. But it was a totally full flight, and we got there, and it was. I mean, for myself, it was very special, obviously, to actually be there after wanting to go for so long. And mean, I don't know if you've seen the pictures, but there's this big like arrivals hallway that like everybody comes into before you get to baggage claim, like a huge hallway with like a really tall ceiling. And so along the railings, there's like it's like up and down. There's like these railings. So along the railing, there was all the posters with all the pictures of all the hostages. So that really, it really felt a lot more real and really very striking as to walk through that hallway and to see it up close and realize that here is where it is.
Did you get a sense that everybody on the plane was Jewish? Were there non-Jews? Did you have
No, it was
a mixture? Did you fly El Al, or are there other airlines already flying into Israel?
so the way there I flew Austrian Airlines. So there's a couple of other, but it
So
was
there are
mainly
other airlines going in. And
yeah,
was it any sense that everybody there was Jewish? Were they
not
Israelis? Did
not
you
at
get
all.
any? Not at all. Okay, so
It
tell us. I mean,
was a
usually
mix.
we're so excited you land, but then you get the hostages there, and that must really change the mood. Walk us through that.
Yeah, so I mean it was kind of a not it was I mean it was exciting to be in Israel, but it was quite sobering to walk through and like realize that it's not everything is okay. But then so we got through the customs and all that, and then I went straight to Jerusalem, to Yerushalayim. You took the train, and it was full. I mean, there was soldiers everywhere, and it was. I
Was
mean,
that
it kind
disturbing
of
for you to see all these guys with M16? It's not something you see in Chicago or Northbrook.
actually it wasn't. It was actually quite the contrary. It was not. It was actually very comforting and reassuring. That there's. Meaning, obviously, it's not for a good reason. Unfortunately, there's a war, but it was you feel safe when there's soldiers all over. Um, and but it was interesting because when we got to Yerushalayim, it seemed as if, though, I mean, I guess life has to go on, and it seemed like it was pretty business as usual for the city. I mean, there was people hustling and bustling and shopping and all
Some
over.
people have reported that you see like a lot more women than men. The men are all in the army, and like the world is being run by teenage girls because all the men are in the. Did you get that sense of it? Like you
A
walk
little
into a
bit
store.
actually. I mean, most of the police officers actually were women police officers. I guess the men are in the army.
Hmm.
Um, but there's, I mean, there's all kinds of people, and there was, I mean, in Yerushalayim itself, there seemed to be a lot of tourists. Like, I mean, I don't know what it usually is, so I'm sure from what I hear, it was less than the people that live there that I visited and I met are like, oh, do you think this is busy? Oh, this is nothing. Before it would have been way more packed, but it was nice to actually see.
The stores are open, the restaurants are open, the falafel stands
in
and that kind of thing feels like it's functioning.
in Yerushalayim, yes. Other places that we went to, not as much,
Okay, so
but we'll
take us
get
through
to
your
that.
itinerary. Yeah, please.
So I mean, I actually met up with my cousin Pesachim Newman, who is in the army, and he had off Thursday afternoon. So we walked around Yerushalayim
Oh, we
together,
should have
and
had him on. What's he described as been his experiences there?
well, I mean, he can't say much as to what
How long has he been in Sahel? He's American.
he's American from New York. He's been in for I think a little over a year now.
Okay, so he was there
Um,
before this started.
so he was there before. But we hung around, walked around Yerushalayim, checked out not all, but some of the different areas. And, it was my first time. He's been there obviously before. And then, I mean, we had an early night because after 24 hours of
Exhausted.
traveling, you got,
Exhausted, sure.
but this was Thursday afternoon. And then Friday morning early, we went to the Kosel for the Vasikin. They daven, they're early, right at sunrise. So that was
So walk us
really
through that. What
special.
was that like for you?
Well, of course, it was Rosh Chodesh, so it was even more people make a special effort to daven by the Kaisel. And we're waiting at the bus stop for the bus, and of course it's full. The driver drives right past, so we ran, we walked and we ran a little bit, and we got there. And so you walking through the gates of the old city. I've seen all the videos and learned about it in school, but to actually walk through the gates of the old city and then to walk through and to come to the coastal, it was a incredible experience. And then so you get their security. Obviously, they have to they open the tefillin bag, looking inside, make sure it's just your tefillin in there, nothing extra. Um, but we get in, and it was incredible. I mean, the Crystal Plaza was full of people davening. It was really special to be able to be there, and so that was
So you got the bench
definitely a big
at the
highlight.
Kaisel.
I forgot to bench Geimer right
What?
away. I ended up actually getting an Aliyah there. We joined a minion, and so we got an Aliyah. I forgot to bench Geimer then, but I had benched Geimer later. So in
Okay,
all
so
the
then
excitement,
Friday afternoon, you're getting ready for
so
Shabbos.
yeah, so Friday. I mean, we went to Yad Vashem on
Oh
Friday in
wow.
the middle
So
of the day, so that was a bit of I mean, it was a very special experience. Not so that was. I mean, I don't want to focus on it so much because I mean it's important, but wasn't the main focus of the trip, but it was a good
sure, of course.
informative thing. And then Shabbos, then we came back to it's more Yad Vashem is kind of like on the edge of town, kind of. It's like in the mountains, like that's a whole nice campus there. So we headed back into town. We went to Mea Sha'arim Friday afternoon to get ready, buy some food for Shabbos over there. There's the nice, very from area. Um, so it's hustling and bustling over there. Everybody's running to get their stuff for Shabbos. So that was an interesting experience.
Did you seem to notice like extra security? Did people feel that, or was it just sort of business as usual? Was there a sense that there were more security than was customary?
That well, I mean, I like I said, I don't know what to compare it to, but there was definitely a lot of police coming and going. And I mean, there's also because I guess there's so many soldiers and reservists and everything. So wherever you go, basically, there's soldiers walking around, even if they're not necessarily on duty, but they all, some of them in uniform, some of them just walking around with their rifle slung over their shoulder just in case. Or so there was, I mean, and besides, there's police all over. So I mean, it felt very safe in Yerushalayim. Um, so yeah, that was, it was kind of the feeling. And then Friday night, we went back to the Kosel to daven for the Friday night Kabbalah Shabbos and evening service. So that was also really nice. You have all these different. I mean, you have all kinds of minyanim happening. You have Svardi minyan over here, and you have Hasidim over here, and it was, I mean, everyone's singing, and it was really really special. Um, and then in general, Shabbos in Yerushalayim is really nice. You know, the trains and the buses don't run, so like most of the streets are open. Everyone's walking on the streets, and it's just it was just a nice, really pleasant, enjoyable Shabbos. Um, Shabbos morning, we davened in Mayanot, which is about Shuva Yeshiva in Yerushalayim, so that was nice over there. And then Shabbos afternoon, there's I mean, the Yerushalayim is big, and there's, I mean, you can explore. Like, we were just walking around, you know, stumbling upon, oh, we bumped into the great synagogue. Like, I didn't even think, like, I was, you know, there's so many things, like, oh well, we walked by, it was open, we went inside, checked it out. You know, you keep, everywhere you turn, you find another plaque on the wall of something interesting, or so that was very special. And then so Sunday we went back to the old city, and we got a tour of the Kaisel tunnels. They have
Oh,
these
yeah, for sure.
excavations of under, like under the, basically under the old city, and you could see the western wall, the bottom part. That, I mean, because on top you only see the top, but it goes much lower, and you see, it's very very interesting. There was a mikveh there from the times of the temple that actually had water. It was fed by a spring, and it was actively, like, you saw the spring, you saw the water coming in, and it was full. So it was pretty cool to see a mikveh that Jews actually went in when they were on their way to the Beis Hamikdash. So that was,
Okay.
it was just incredible. Um, and then from there we headed Sunday afternoon to Hebron, to Maris
Okay.
Machpelah, where the forefathers and foremothers are buried. So
Did you see Danny Cohen?
I did not.
What?
Um, he was probably in the army somewhere. You know, they're all serving. But so there, actually, it was very quiet. I mean, there's public transport. Like, we took a public bus. We actually did public transportation the whole week. I mean, public transportation is great there. But the bus was not full to Hebron. There were some people there, but it wasn't. I would imagine in a regular. It was Sunday afternoon. I'd imagine in regular times on Sunday afternoon it would probably be busier. But it wasn't empty, but it was also very special, and, you know, interesting to see it, and to actually be able to go there and dive in there. Um, Obviously, I mean, Hebron's very different than Yerushalayim. It's a huge city, but the part that's in Jewish control is very, very small. It's basically the area just surrounding the Maris Machpelah. So, I mean, and there's this, like, the soldiers all around, and with all their booths, and making sure that you don't venture into the wrong parts, because you don't want to get stuck there. But it
Did you visit
was,
other areas in Hebron besides the Mar Samachbela?
so we didn't have that much time there. We walked a little. It's like there's basically this one road that you can walk down. So we started going a little bit. There's this house there that, like, the rooftop is open. So we went up there. Let me see if I could pull up a
No, we got some
picture
pictures. All
here.
right.
Here's the thing. See if this works.
Here we go. You are sharing screen.
So this is at Maris Machpelah. Could you
There
see
you
it?
go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We see
Yeah.
it
So this
perfectly.
is, so that's we have the there would be a video here somewhere. Oh, so here
The
is
city
the
of
roof of
Hebron.
our house.
There's Marsa Machpelah right
So
there.
this big building there, and so it's this whole.
Most of what you're seeing, you can't get to. There's Arabs there, but it's a beautiful view of the city from here.
So
So,
that's
that was Sunday to Marsa Machpelah. Then what?
then we hopped on a bus and we went back to um Yerushalayim, and from there we went to Kever Rachel Imenu, which is
Bethlehem.
Bethlehem. It's very close relatively to Yerushalayim. So we went there. So this is actually inside. They have a kollel there. There's people learning. So this is the actual. So that was we were able to dive in there, and it's interesting because that there it was packed. I mean, it may be because it's closer to Yerushalayim, but also there's a big significance to Kever Rachel because she's not buried by Marsa Machpelah where the rest of the forefathers and foremothers are buried. And there's a lot of reason for that. I mean, besides for that's where she passed away, but because she specifically wanted to be buried there, and the Jews would come there, passed by on their way when they were exiled in Bavel. So now, I mean, we're not exiled, but it's a time of need, and so there's lots of people davening there. So that was very special to be there. And then so that was basically Sunday night by the time we got done with that. And then Monday we headed up to Tzvas.
Oh boy.
Up north. So we stopped actually for Shacharis at there's a 770 in
Oh, hey,
Yerushalayim.
Howard Street. Yeah. Oh.
So this one's in Yerushalayim. Looks like kind of similar. So we dive in there, and then we headed to Tzvas. And then so that was it's a whole trip for itself. It's all the way up north. It's like a 3-hour bus ride.
And when you got up there, did you sense the war, the northern front? Is that
so
feel
yeah,
like
so it was
there?
it was a very, very different feel when we got to Tzfas. It's much quieter. There was like much less, if barely any, like we didn't notice any other tourists, and a lot more of the shops were closed. It was much more, meaning the kids were going to school, and like we got there in the afternoon and there's kids running around, and like the school buses are dropping the kids off from school. But the general city it was much different than Yerushalayim, much quieter, much less active. And then we got to the old city of Tzfas the next day. There's a video, My Land. It's a kids video about Eretz Yisroel. And so in the video they have all these, like, they go through Tzfas is one of the holy cities that they check out in this video, and they have all these different art galleries and all this stuff, but most of it was closed because their tourism is really not doing so well over there right now. And actually, I mean, Baruch Hashem, we were okay, but we left Tuesday afternoon, and Wednesday morning there was a bunch of missiles that hit Tzfas. Some of them very, very close to places I've been. So that was a very strong reminder.
So then Tuesday, where did you go next?
But so Monday afternoon when we got to Tzfas, we went to Tveria, which is in that general area. So there's the Rambam is buried there.
You got some pictures?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah. So by the Rambam, it's actually they have this huge, like a whole it's not a compound, it's outdoors, but there's a whole, I don't know, a gazebo of sorts over there, and then so also right next to the Rambam, there's many other. So there's Rabbi Elazar ben Hyrcanus here is one of the the bunch of sages from the Mishnah and the Gemara that are Rav Ami, Rav Asi, that are all buried over there. And then we also went to Rav Meir Baal Hanes, which is also in Tveria. So that was and so that was basically Monday night. Then Tuesday, then we went back to Tzfas, stayed over the night, and then in the morning we went around the old city of Tzfas.
Mhm.
So this is actually the Arizal's mikvah.
Okay, sure. Was it cold? Did you go in?
It was cold, not as cold as they say. I mean, I was expecting it to be ice cold. It was cold, but not too bad. So this actual, it's also fed by a spring. This mikvah is from the times of the Arizal. So there's and like you see behind where I'm standing is the cave, and then they extended it now, and they made a whole dressing room and everything.
Oh, really?
So it's yeah.
Nice. Okay.
And then we stopped for some breakfast. That there's a place open there,
Important.
and then we went around to the old cemetery in Svas. So this is by the Rabbi Yosef Cairo, who he wrote the Shulchan Aruch, which was which obviously a very important book in Judaism. But this year I'm learning smicha to become a rabbi, so I'm spending a couple hours a day learning his sefer. So it was kind of extra special
meaningful. Nice.
to go there. And then this we found the Rebbe's brother is buried there, Yisroel Leib. What?
I'm yeah. That's all you like listening. Don't
Yeah.
worry.
So we were able to find. It's hard to find. It's in like a different kind of section there, but
It's
we
the
were able to
military
find it. Baruch Hashem.
cemetery.
It's right past the military. This railing is right coming out of the military section, so it's right over there. But Baruch Hashem, we were able to find it. Where else was there? There's the Alshich. There's a lot of different Kabbalists over there. And then so that was basically Tuesday. And then from there we went all the way. Well, actually, we went from Tzfas, we went to Meron, which is right
Shimon Bar
nearby.
Yochai.
Shimon Bar Yochai. So it's a whole complex over there. So there's Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, and his son is buried there as well. And that was full. There was a lot of people davening there. What is this? Is by this is the kever of the Arizal over here, back in Sfas. And then we headed over to Tuesday night. We headed evening. We went back to Kfar Chabad, which is more in the center. So it was a nice trip back down. And Kfar Chabad, it's a really nice village. Basically, it's not a big city at all. And that's where that was established in 1948 or 49, but pretty soon after the war, after the state of Israel was established. So there's Kfar Chabad. So it's in the name Kfar Chabad, there's a lot of Chabad people there. There's another 770 there, and there's a bunch of big yeshiva. So we stayed there for the night, and then Wednesday morning, basically, that was the end of my part of the trip. So
Okay, so you've been there. It's your first time. You showed us these places. Give us like one memory, one thing that obviously you've always wanted to be there. You learned about these places. Now you walk them. What can you say you took away from being in Israel? Especially, I know this was your only time there so far, but especially at this stressful time of being in Israel, what can you say surprised you or was inspired you, was most meaningful?
The whole trip really was just a very special experience to be able to, like you said, all the places that I've been learning about and reading about and hearing about for so long. But one thing actually that any of the tour guides that we met said, which like by the Kaisel Tunnel or in other places, how meaningful it is for the people there when they see people coming, even though it's difficult. So really, like everyone we saw, like that we actually started speaking to, it's like, oh, you came all the way from Chicago, all the way from Arizona. Like it was very, it means a lot to the people there that to know that we're not forgetting about them. Oh, now it's hard to come, so goodbye. But it was it was really special, and it was really meaningful. Just the whole being is. I don't know how to describe it, but just the feeling of being
Said
in
you can't put
Eretz
it in words.
Yisrael
It's
is
our space.
it's,
our
it's the
space.
feeling, you know. And on the plane on the way, like as you're leaving, it's just feel that like the feeling of leaving Eretz Yisrael and how you want to come back. And if I was able
You'll
to
be
go
back.
back tomorrow, I'd go back. But
We will. We'll all
can't
go
go
back
back.
with Mashiach. I'm
Oh,
so happy
Mashiach
for you
comes.
that you got to have this experience. And as you said, you can't even put it into words, and we could sense the enthusiasm and how special it was. We want to thank you for sharing it with us. If anybody wants to unmute and jump in with a quick question, otherwise,
Yeah,
we're gonna
Levi,
let
can I
Levi
ask you a
go.
question?
Please.
Are
Sure.
you, tell me your relationship to one of my favorite women I ever met in my whole life, Esther Rochel Moscowitz.
She's my grandmother.
I thought so. So are you Mayor's son?
Yep.
Tremendous. In Mayor's office, when you walk in there, is it Mayor? Yeah, he's got that big, beautiful round desk and all that fancy wood. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He's been
Yeah,
there.
that was my office, and I donated it so that he
Oh,
could
well,
sit there.
thank
I
you.
love-
He's
I love
making good
him.
use of it.
And I love
Yeah.
Esther Rochel. She was like so inspiring. She came to my house one time, and I felt like maybe the president of the United States walked in, and he
Better
would,
than that.
huh?
Better than that.
Oh yeah, of course it is better. I took too much time. I just love all this Martellum, you know, and Daniil
Yeah.
Moskowitz. I mean, boy, oh boy, I used to go to him for service and questions and great speeches he gave. Your grandpa.
Yep.
That's
Beautiful. All
it. This is
right.
Mel, you can't see my face. I'm Mel Weisberg. You can say it. No.
Sure.
Beautiful, Mel. Okay. Otherwise, we're going to let the Levi get back to his studies. We want to thank him for joining us. Tomorrow night, we'll start learning some Megillah, getting ready for Purim. So, Levi, thank you. I'm so happy. Oh, Nir, you have a question?
For you, not for Levi. Hi, Levi.
Okay, so